thing about so-called living museums like Blist's Hill Victorian Town at Ironbridge is that they need to be alive and not just a series of tableaux. Fascinating though the shops, displays and industrial premises are, they need people to bring them to life. On a busy day, especially in the school holidays, there are not only knowledgeable costumed guides but also volunteers and expert craftspeople demonstrating the skills that lay behind the bustling towns of the Victorian era. The town comes alive as we listen to the clatter of hooves and the creak of wheels as a horse and cart make their way through the street. On our most recent visit, we were lucky enough to see the town's foundry in action, where skilled workers demonstrate the art of casting iron. Although this foundry is no longer fed by massive coke ovens, spilling toxic gases into the air, the whole process of casting has something primeval about it. The white gold of the flowing metal as it spills into the large pot and throws off sparks as the workmen clear the slag and impurities from the top. Even behind perspex screens you can see the heat as molten iron is carried around the furnace floor, precariously gripped between steel rods and poured into moulds on the floor, just as it was done over a century and more ago. This is the heart of a process that made iron products available in great numbers across the world. Making, moulding and using iron made the Industrial Revolution possible, and many of those processes began here in Ironbridge and continued almost up to present times. Getting up close and personal with an industrial process that's not computer controlled and measured and depends instead on the skills of people, risking injury to their limbs, even their lives, to make ordinary everyday objects, gives an understanding of heavy industry you can't get without being there. In a way, this is simple. Children clearly understand that the molten iron is poured into one side of the mould and the pouring stops when it rises up on the other side, filling the void between. But the skills involved in getting the metal at the right temperature, avoiding air bubbles and even simply not spilling it as you move from mould to mould, with the molten iron sending its fumes into your face, are impressive. And as the smoke from the moulds fills the foundry floor, it's like the aftermath of a lava flow, steaming and smoking as it cools. It's fair to say the Victorians invented fly posting. As printing presses became cheaper and paper more plentiful, many towns had their own printer and local newspapers flourished. Every shopkeeper and showman could afford to print posters and handbills, and distribute them around the streets. The print shop at Blist Hill has developed a good sense of how this worked and the language used by printers to attract attention, clearly forerunners of today's advertising agencies.
There we go, fantastic. And I'm just going to give it a couple of extra rolls just for luck. I think I might take you on as my apprentice. How does that sound? Does that sound pretty good?
But doing it yourself, even with a humble hand press, is a different experience again and gives a basic understanding of the way wooden blocks with raised letters engraved upon them can create words on paper with the addition of some printer's ink and a bit of pressure.
And pull it all the way to the back. I know, it's tough, isn't it? You have to be strong to be a printer. There you go. Fantastic. So we're going to let it swing back and then you're going to crank it back out. Yep, back towards you. You never know how a print's going to come out until it comes out.
The meticulous process of using a hand press to print onto paper bags produces a personalised end result that gives youngsters both a sense of satisfaction and something to show their parents, of course. It's surprising how much Victorian life depended on wood as well as iron and steel, and that's an area where individual skills still ruled with little room for mass production. Ensconced in Blist's Hill carpenters, wheelwrights and undertakers' workshop are craftspeople with some truly specialist skills with wood. One's busy carving intricate wooden reliefs and another repairing old musical instruments.
It's a lute. It's actually a 7-course lute.
Okay.
It's got 7 lengths of strings.
Yeah.
Top and the bottom are single. The 5 in the middle are doubled.
Oh, right.
But you get 6-course lutes and 7-course lutes and 8-course lutes and even more courses of lutes. That is softwood called spruce. It's only 2mm thick.
Yeah.
These about probably about 8 or 9 braces. There's 2 there.
Yeah.
You know, that go across it like that, and one that goes like that.
There's hands-on experiences and even bums-on-seat experiences, thanks to the Victorian Fairground here. In the age of the Xbox, it's amazing how the rope-powered swing boats, a classic Victorian amusement, can excite the youngsters. The thrill, as you swing back and forth, soaring high into the sky, seems to defy the years as well as gravity. It's people that make this place, not just buildings, the machinery or the historically accurate interiors. Informed, expert people, clearly having the skills of an earlier era and the ability to share their knowledge are what make museums like Blist Hill so much better than just a museum.